welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be going through our paycheck number 1 for the month of March. And if you're new here, my name is Mishra. I'm 36 years old and I have a family of 6, 4 kids, 2 adults. And yeah, this is basically our budget. So aside from just going through our first paycheck, I'm going to show you what I do kind of like on my payday, how my bank accounts are set up. What I did this time is I didn't write it down. I actually just did it on my computer on a template that I did. And so we're just gonna go through that right now. So let's just hop into the budget and then I'll go over our bank accounts. So for our 9 to 5, we are going to be bringing in $1,306. And if you're new here, you may not know, but things have been a little bit slow for the year, so our income's a little bit lower than we're normally used to. So what I did is I just decided to transfer $600 from our emergency fund into our checkings account. So instead of just kind of like taking like $50 here, $40 here, I was like, you know what, let me just take the $600 and we'll budget with that. So when we come down here to giving, so we normally give 10%, and so that's only 10% of this number because this is money that we just saved up from before. And so that's that. And then our Nissan, which comes out bi-weekly, is $270.18. And then every paycheck we have $75, or I budget $75. I think it's a little bit less for this line of credit. And then Michael Myers is a loan. If you want to see further into some of our debt, I can link the video somewhere above. Yeah, so that's basically that for our fixed expenses. We don't normally have that many that come out of these paychecks, and these are like semi-monthly. And so when we move to our variable expenses, so we budget $300 per paycheck for food, and then for pet, which is like dog food or like fish food or anything that we need for our animals, we budget $200 a paycheck. And then for gas, we budget $400, even though since my husband has been driving as much for work, we may not use this $400 for gas, but at the same time, gas prices have increased. Like, it's crazy. Like, I filled up for $1.87. So I live in Toronto, and I filled up for $1.87. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy. So who knows, with the increase in gas, maybe we might end up actually using that. And so then the remaining amount that we have here, miscellaneous. So in the first week of March, 2 of our kids have birthdays. One of our daughters turning 7, the other one turned 17. And so because of that, and I know that we had some like additional kind of pet expenses, and we've just been kind of eating out because things have been so crazy. So I just budgeted the rest for miscellaneous because I know that it basically is just going to get eaten up in all of those different kind of categories. So that's basically that for that paycheck. So the remaining amount is 0. And then we do have these sections below here. So a section for savings and also this section for debt, but we're not going to be doing any of that this paycheck. So basically what happens is when there's 2 different kind of like pays. So we have our semi-monthly pay, which we budget all of our variable expenses, and then I get paid once a month. And so because it's like one lump sum at one time, that's what we normally use to pay all of our bills. So the way our accounts are set up is we have a checking account, and so my husband's pay goes into that account because that is the account that we use for all of our spending. So mostly our variable stuff. So our food stays in that bank account, our pet stays in that bank account, our gas stays in that bank account, sorry, and like our buffer. And so that way we can kind of not spend freely, because obviously we track what we are spending, or at least kind of know what's going on in the account, but then we don't really have to worry about swiping the card and accidentally like using too much money. And so then we have our other checking account, which that's where my pay gets deposited, and that account is specifically for bills. So our bills, anything that comes out that's just like automatically withdrawn, comes out of that account. And then checks, especially checks, because I don't know about you, but look, we don't use checks that often, but I've had times where I wrote a check for $10 to my kid's school and it took 3 months to be cashed. 3 months. So I hate like waiting for checks to be cashed. So I have a separate account, and what I like to avoid is sometimes when you have it all together, especially if you're not that great at tracking your stuff, then you kind of have to always be like, okay, do I still have that $300 left in the account, because I know that this thing is coming out. So to kind of alleviate some of the stress, and especially if you're not that great at tracking your expenses, then having a bank account where only your bills come out of could potentially be a good idea for you. And so with this paycheck, all these variable expenses will stay in that one checkings account that's for spending, but then our car payment and the loans and stuff, I'll transfer the money from our spending checkings account into our bills checking account. And so doing that allows us to just not basically have to worry. And then so outside of these two things, we also have a savings account, which is our emergency fund account. And so that's just a separate account at a credit union. I don't have a debit card for that account. I can e-transfer, but I don't have a debit card, so I don't use that at all. It's literally, I have to intentionally want to switch money, and the account also has e-transfer fees. So even though it's only $1.50, it's like really hard for me to pay any type of fee. So yeah, so basically it's a little bit harder to reach. So that's where I have my emergency fund, but it's liquid. And then outside of that, for long-term savings, I invest. So I have a tax-free savings account through Wealthsimple that we transfer $100 a month into. And so that is kind of like, it's invested, I don't touch it, it's just gonna grow. I don't expect to use it anytime soon. And that's that. And then so the final one is, it's not really an account, but it could potentially be an account, is for short-term savings. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you might see that I've had sinking funds, or I started doing them in January because I was doing them before, but then I kind of fell off. And so sinking funds are for short-term savings. So you could have these in a bank account that you just track, or like me, you can have cash envelopes where you withdraw the funds and then you put them in your cash envelope, which I like to do because sometimes I find that if they're just in my bank account, then it's just easy for me if I needed money to just transfer. But generally, when I have cash set aside, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and I don't really use it. So basically, that is how our bank accounts are set up. And so every payday, that's what we do. So it goes into one account, and then I either transfer it from our spending account into our bills account, or when I get paid and where most of the bills come out, I transfer whatever variable expenses there might be from our bills account into our spending account. So that's it for my video. Please subscribe to my channel, share this video with anyone that you think might find it helpful, or if they might be, not really knowing how they might be setting up their bank accounts, or they might have difficulties because they just have one bank account and all of their transactions are in one and they can't really keep things straight. Yeah, and I'll see you next time.